Okay, so I've put some notes down now about that I thought I'd like to start off within this third part of the Ouija principle series videos that I'm doing. And I'd just like to explain that if you've watched the part one, you'll notice that these words, expressions come into the speech boxes. What I'm doing is I've processed the movie or the video and then uploaded to YouTube, and in YouTube you can do further editing and annotations. So I'm putting these annotations in text boxes, but the text that I'm doing, what I'm doing is I've got two lists, and basically this is evolution of the Ouija principle, in a sense where I'm not and haven't used the glass that I created and used way back, that I've talked about in parts 1 and 2. I'm now using a computer, and what I've done is I've realised, in a sense, that, for example, your mouse here acts as a pointer, and the screen on your video screen acts as the board. And with the tool of the internet, your board is vast, in the sense that using your pointer you go where you choose to. This, of course, is more in your conscious reality, so it's not as vast as it could be, in a sense, but I'll talk a bit more about that. I've got the subconscious on the list of things I want to talk about, but these lists, there's two lists I use, and at present the lists have 1,686 data entries, line by line. Some of those are one word, some of them are a sentence, some of them are paragraphs, some of them are telling me to go to a document that I've written, open the document and select data from that document. And what all it's about is messaging, making message, but it's also using random, because what I do is I just simply, I'll have the two documents open, which I call my comm lists. So I've got comm list 1 and comm list 2, comm for communication, and these lists have most share the same data, only it's in a different, it's sorted differently. It's not, for example, the last word on the list comm list 1 at the moment is intelligence, and on comm list 2 the last word is ghost in the machine. So what I'm saying is that they're ordered differently, even though there's the same data in both lists. And then what I do is I randomly select, and it's the blindfold thing of in a sense, this random stuff. If I don't look at the screen, I push the down button, I might push the down arrow, and then I stop. I look at the screen, I select where the cursor, the pointer, has stopped, and then I copy that wherever it might have stopped and paste it into another document. Or in the case of what I'm doing on the videos is in the annotations on YouTube, I'm just pasting the expressions there as the video is rolling, if you like. So I'm listening to what I'm saying and what I've published on YouTube, and I'm using this random devising as I go along, the random list, communications list. So I thought I'd briefly explain that. I want to get more into that, but because anybody can do it, but it does take effort. So I've got here, show the book with the communications, and I meant to grab that book and I'm not sure where I put it, so I'll get back to that one. Relationship with computers and the Ouija. Well, I've explained that already, with the mouse as being the pointer, the screen being the board, the internet, or anything on the screen that you might be doing with the screen is part of the process. It's a communication thing happening. It's always about communication, in a sense. Easy enough in one sense to explain, because we are all individuals. We may share this reality, but we do so in an individual way, and thus we feel alone, in a sense. Not lonely necessary, but we know what it is to be an individual. In the sense of communicating, it's because we have to, because we're with other individuals. We share this reality, and communication is just a necessary aspect of being able to continue to share in as peaceful a way as possible, less stressful way as possible. It says here, talk more about the subconscious, its other names. Well, the subconscious, as I've learned, is a mysterious thing in itself. Science doesn't necessarily, they allocate things to it, but they don't get into it. The scientists don't get too involved in that aspect of it. In a spiritual sense, it might be called the higher self. It may be called named, the goddess, the earth, Gaia. It may be called God. It may be referred to as a number of things, but it's all the same thing that is being referred to. The differences are in the cultures of those things. Like I said, it may be spirituality, it may be science, psychology, religions, belief systems, and those cultures of belief systems have different interpretations about this one thing. And in general, it's probably best to call it subconscious, but higher self perhaps. What would I call it? I've named it various things, including queen bee. Because in a sense, this getting to the individual state, we are in some ways cut off from the greater reality due to that individual state, due to the fact of our lives, however these may be. And it's very hard to appreciate another person's point of view, especially if it's so vastly different from your own experience, your own childhood growing and learning, and how your environment, what happened, may be so much different from someone else that neither individual can quite communicate that or relate to the other one, because the information isn't really there. It's not personal. It didn't happen to you, or it didn't happen to me. So this is what the sharing's about, on all levels, right through from the wee person like myself who's just putting it out there, not getting many hits, nothing's gone viral. Why should it really? It's not something, this particular subject is very narrow in the sense that it's not something that most people can relate to. Is it important? In the sense that will such information help individuals in the shared reality? Because of course there's a lot out there. People are freaking in all sorts of ways and kind of shielding themselves from that greater environment, because it's just in a sense a big struggling monster wanting to break free of its chains and go for it, in a sense. And I guess that's about nature. Nature's not an airy fairy kind of a thing. Nature's a big scary kind of a thing. But we're a part of it, and so if I am to think nature's a big scary thing, then somehow being a part of it, I must be a big scary or a little scary thing, you know. And how many of us have scared ourselves? And that in a sense, all of us have. But we've been scared as well. And what happens is when we scare ourselves, then we inadvertently scare other people around us, and that ping-ponging effect happens. So it's really important in a way to, yes, learn of the deeper things so that we can be a bit more calm about the scary monster, so that we can start to see it in a way that it's not by the way, what I'm doing here is I get about 10 minutes of filming on my card, and then I have to process that and carry on. So explains a little hitch in chaining up this monster. We're reacting in fear to it. We're not trying to understand it. Like the stories, the old wives' tale, Beauty and the Beast, for example. There's this thing that needs to occur within each of us, really, is to find a way to embrace that which we've learned to fear. Now, let's call it the subconscious, because in a sense that's probably the least, perhaps the least threatening label. Even higher self has its, because there's a hierarchy involved there. If you call it higher self, you may call it vaster self, which is helpful, but a vaster self is the subconscious I'm speaking of here. And obviously I'm saying in a sense that, hey, the Ouija principle is not about spirits. I mean, we can't verify to any scientific degree about afterlives and things like that, but we can, so in a sense it's proved in a sense that can't be proved. Okay, so people using the Ouija device for the purpose of communicating with spirits are science. There's no science to verify that as a fact. So, but in a sense, if you use it as a device to communicate with the subconscious self, then we can look at it scientifically. Okay, because the subconscious self is verifiable by science. It has been verified. It is a something. So, yes, so we need to, in a sense, to talk about this subconscious vastness. If we all, as individuals, have this subconscious, what is that in terms in relation to us as a species? And it is my understanding through using this principle, learning of it, by it, that the subconscious is something that we each have, but it's more that we're connected to it. Our conscious is connected to it, and what it is a shared thing. So everybody's consciousness, everybody's subconscious is the same thing, much in the way that the internet mirrors that sameness, that thing. If you prefer using the evolution model and the tribes that I've talked about in the past, when the tribes were scattered around the earth surface, they had no idea about each other, you see. So in a sense you can imagine this in the subconscious aspect, that there's a subconscious thing over each tribe, which could be called an entity in a sense. It's all this information, all this experience, all the generations of the tribe, the stories that get told everything about the tribe is gathered within the subconscious. Okay, it's a theory, it's a model, but I maintain that scientifically you will come to the same conclusion that I am presenting here. And as those tribes grew and became bigger, and depending on the stories and the attitudes and even the DNA aspect, the coding, the biological, hereditary, all affected how these different tribes decided to play out their parts, their evolution within their reality, not realizing each other, but eventually through exploration and moving out into the environment, tribes came across each other, sometimes tragically. Okay, and then there's the aspect of that whole thing, which is what I call the bully aspect, which goes out to conquer and to apply domination over a less warlike tribe, if you like, and they'll either annihilate them or they'll enslave them. And this is history. This is the beast I'm talking about. So we have these aspects of subconsciousness, which, when the tribes meet, these consciousnesses meet as well, and they have to learn or not how to merge. Okay, so over the centuries, something of this merging in today's day and age is happened on a level where it's all okay within that beast. There's an understanding of its purpose, there's an understanding of its history, there's a forgiveness of its history, because in a sense it can be scientifically explained why people did what they did. Let's face it, we're in a scary environment. We're going to create stories, we're going to create monsters, we're going to create explanations for this adventure we are on, with in mind that we all enter it as if in a state of a beginning. We are experiencing a beginning. We could get into reincarnation and all the rest of that, but I think it's all linked with this subconscious thing. The important thing is that here and now, with the internet, with the way science has evolved, we have an opportunity to understand that greater vastness by just simply looking at the internet. Is that such a simple thing? Because there's a lot in the internet that, in a sense, that bullying dynamic of how is it, being popular, basically, that's part of this whole the internet thing. There's this kind of this domination thing happening where the individual needs to be popular, to be heard, to be seen, to be the information that individual has or is presenting through whatever medium, entertainment, philosophy, science, whatever. Those are the things that go into the main structure of the shared consciousness, the shared subconsciousness, the thing that is the monster in a sense. And this is all information from experience, from our individual experiences. But it doesn't matter that the popular information is there. All information is gathered, but there is a part within that whole model of the subconscious that has learnt what information is really important, what information is quite distracting and of no real relevance. It's the same old that has always been going on. It's the new information to which this central aspect of subconsciousness is most interested in regard. How do I know this? It's through the communication. It's through being connected to that and learning to understand it. And that's not an easy thing to do. You really, in a sense, I think I've got a note here about talking. Would I advise people to use Ouija, that principle? No, I wouldn't. Not the way it's used traditionally, because it's really the subconscious. There are stories that people tell, and scary stories, and the subconscious is quite capable of being a scary monster and showing you that. And if you're going to assume that that's what it is, then by all means it will be that. Just the same way, and evident as I had a Jehovah's Witnesses, 2 young boys knocking at the door one day not that long ago, and basically it got around to, they're talking about the Father God, the Jehovah, and I said, well listen, how is it that it doesn't matter what religion you are, if you pray you get an answer to your prayer? And the answer he gave me was, I guess it all depends on what you're praying for.